Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's having a great first month of 2023. I've been spending a lot of time lately catching up on some series, but also watching lots of 70s movies. And I thought I would share a few more of those with you today. I have been doing videos where I just show one movie, and I've been watching quite a few of them, so I thought I would just put them all together in one video. But this particular study is going to take a long time probably because there's so many great films in the 70s. I'm going to leave also in the description below, I'm going to leave a link to the playlist that I'm building for this particular film study. So if you missed a video or you want to go back and watch some of the other recommendations or some of the other favorites that I've talked about, you can look at those videos. Also, I am on Letterboxd too, so feel free to follow me on Letterboxd if you like. And I do have a list going there of all the films that I've been watching. So I have a few to show you today, and I'm going to go through each one as I normally do with the individual titles. And the first one I'm going to start with, I saw a while back, but I thought I would mention it because I really like this movie. I think it's an amazing movie, but I did see it a while back. It's called The Ninth Configuration with Stacy Keach, Scott Wilson, who you may know from The Walking Dead if you've seen that particular series. I thought he was amazing in this, and Jason Miller. This is a DVD Blu-ray combo pack. And I'll just open it up too so you can see the inside. Again, no reversible artwork here, but the DVD and the Blu-ray are inside here together on separate spindles here. On the back, as I show always, there's a full description as well as some extra features on this one. This is maybe a lesser known movie, and I've seen it, like I said, I saw it a while back. This one I did not see recently, but I'm going to read the description on the back. Again, I don't like to spoil the first viewing of these movies if you haven't seen them before. And so I'm going to read the back, and then I'll talk a little bit about the atmosphere of the movie and the extra features on it. This is also written and directed by William Peter Blatty, who wrote the book The Exorcist, which I thought was interesting too. It's the final days of the Vietnam War, and the Department of Defense has set up a mental hospital for soldiers in a remote castle. To all appearances, the patients are running the asylum, but nothing here is quite what it seems. A new psychiatrist, Stacy Keach, arrives assigned to determine if any of the vets are faking mental illness. Of particular interest to him is a distraught NASA astronaut, played by Scott Wilson, who aborted his mission during the final countdown. Mixing dark humor with drama, writer-director William Peter Blatty tackles some intriguing metaphysical issues. What is insanity in a world gone mad? Is man capable of self-sacrifice? Is there a God or an afterlife? The result is a film that is by turns hilarious yet suspenseful and moving. Totally agree with that assessment. I love this. I love the performance by Scott Wilson and Stacy Keach, as well as many of the other players here too. And there are some screenshots from the movie, and you can kind of see the atmosphere. It's very interesting to have this mental hospital in this castle. The other thing is this has a special features audio commentary by writer-director William Peter Blatty. Haven't had a chance to listen to that. Featurette with film critic Mark Kermode, deleted scenes and outtakes, and optional English subtitles. This is an amazing movie. Highly recommend it. I just love the performances. Again, has this same type of 70s atmosphere that I've been talking about in these videos. This movie also, I forgot to mention, is from 1979. So right at the end of the 70s, but an amazing movie, very unique, well written. The script is amazing. Scott Wilson gives a phenomenal performance in this movie, as well as, like I said, Stacy Keach. And so again, highly recommend this one. It's one of my favorites from the 70s, 1979. The next one is one that I haven't seen before. I realized as I was going through this, this movie I have seen before, but I realized as I was going through the study that that Hal Ashby, one of my favorite directors, has so many great movies in the 70s. And this is one I rewatched the other night, and it's Harold and Maude. 92 minutes, I believe, or 91 minutes from 1971. Love this work by Criterion. This is spine number 608 from Criterion. And there's the back of that one. And again, I'll read the back and some of the extra features and then talk about the movie. I just love this movie. So many things I love about it, but I'm a huge fan of Hal Ashby. So let me know in the comments below if you have a favorite Hal Ashby film. Pretty much most of the films he made, I believe, are masterpieces. I really love his, love his work. I have a documentary that I regularly watch about Hal Ashby. and his work as an editor as well as a director. But this starts with the and again I'm reading from the back here, with the idiosyncratic American fable Harold and Maude, counterculture director Hal Ashby fashioned what would become one of cinema's most beloved comedies. Working from a script by Colin Higgins, Ashby tells the story of the emotional and romantic bond between a death-obsessed young man and a wealthy family, Bud Cort, from a wealthy family, and a devil-may-care bohemian 60 years his senior, Ruth Gordon. Equal parts gallows humor and beguiling sincerity, Harold and Maude dissolves the line between darkness and light, along with those that separate people by class, gender, and age, and features indelible performances and a remarkable soundtrack by Cat Stevens. Let's talk about the soundtrack here for a little bit. Cat Stevens' amazing soundtrack for this movie. Thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm a big Cat Stevens fan anyway, but I thoroughly enjoy his music, and it really fits well into this movie. And just the phenomenal performances from Bud Cort and Ruth Gordon, who really make a interesting pair here as they share some of their special interests and really kind of hang out together and develop a friendship where I feel like Bud Cort is not well understood in his family, which is very clear from the beginning. And so it's interesting too. I like to think of how people find each other in life. And I'm so happy for these two when they find each other, because they do share so many special interests and are able to communicate in a way that Bud Cort perhaps could not do with his family, and also Ruth Gordon, being on her own, was not able to do. So this is an amazing film with some great performances. This also has a new audio commentary by Hal Ashby biographer Nick Dawson and producer Charles B. Mulvihill. And it's got a great booklet here too that I'll just remove and I can show you a little bit of it. There's the inside there, which sunflowers also play a little bit of a role in the movie. Amazing artwork and booklet on these Criterion releases. This also has some interviews. I was looking through this morning, and some interviews with Bud Cort as an example, or one interview with him, and some essays. So there's lots of different essays in here too that you can reference. Criterion, again, and one of my favorite labels, does a great job of presenting these films in a way that you can really study them and learn more about them, and especially those that are your favorites or that may become your favorites. And again, I just love this artwork on the inside. A word about Hal Ashby too. I found too, and I have another Hal Ashby film I'm going to talk about in a minute. Interesting that he appears in some of these films, which I really hadn't really noticed before. And then I noticed myself kind of looking for him, and he kind of shows up I believe he shows up in this film, and he shows up in the next film I'm going to show as well. Almost like the way Hitchcock shows up in his films. So I'm such a big fan of Hal Ashby too, and I think he likes to do these kind of fringe type movies, independent style movies where someone's sort of on the outside of things. And I really feel like this is a great release, and I'm such a fan of Hal Ashby in general. So this is that one, and I'll just talk about the next Hal Ashby film as well, which I just watched again last night. I've seen this movie many times, but I loved it so much, and it is The Last Detail. And this happens to be a special release from Indicator, which is a company in the UK. And I have I love my Indicator collection, love to order from Indicator or Powerhouse Films. There's the back of that one. You can also see on these releases too, there's a little symbol down here that shows you that this is an all-region release. Not true for all of their releases, but in this particular case it is. I love also how they, as a company, they print the film, the date of the film, or the year of the film, large, so I can see that, which is from 1973. And this one doesn't really have a description, but I will talk about it. And there's the inside of that. This has a Blu-ray and a DVD. You get that great picture of Jack Nicholson on the inside, as well as a very thick booklet, which I'll show here in just a minute. Just remove the booklet here. And on the inside, like I said, it just kind of repeats what's on the back there. But here's the booklet, and again, one of my favorite directors, Hal Ashby, right there. Great photograph of him. And then on the inside, you get sort of information about, this happens to be information about the television cut of the film, and other interesting just articles and screenshots from the movie. So again, Indicator also does a great job of making these releases so informative. And I'll just talk a little bit about what's on the back, or some of the extra features that are on this too. I'll just hold this up as well, so if you want to freeze it, you can read these later if you like. This has a 4K restoration, 2 presentations of the feature, the original uncut theatrical version, which I watched, and the world-exclusive home video presentation of the 1976 TV syndication cut. I did not watch that one. I may have seen it on TV, but I did not watch it recently. There's an introduction by filmmaker Alexander Payne. There's About a Trip, and appreciation by Alexander Payne. A Search for Truth, an interview with editor Robert C. Jones, an interview with Michael Chapman. The acclaimed director of photography discusses his work on The Last Detail, an isolated score experience, as well as some other features. This is also, this particular release, I'm not sure if they have these anymore. This is a limited edition exclusive, has a limited edition 28-page booklet with a new essay by Michael Pattison, and the limited dual format, it was only 5,000 copies. So with many labels, you find that when they do releases, there's only limited copies. So many times they'll have a sale and you can pick these up, and other times they'll just have a regular release of the film, maybe without the dual edition. But anyway, I love this movie. Great atmospheric, amazing performances from Jack Nicholson, Otis Young, Randy Quaid, Clifton James, Carol Kane. And Jack Nicholson is phenomenal in this movie. I'm a big fan of Jack Nicholson. Randy Quaid, also great performance from Randy Quaid, as well as Otis Young, and Clifton James, and everybody in the movie. It's just amazing. And it's really just the three of them. Basically, Randy Quaid has committed a crime and has to be brought to jail. I think there's a mood in the movie where there are 2 Shore Patrol Navy officers that are that are hired to go through this detail, basically is what they call it, to take Randy Quaid to jail. And they realize that that it's kind of an unjust sentence that he's been given. So they kind of start to show him a good time in many unique ways. And I just feel like the performances, the camaraderie between the three of them, it's a very poignant movie as well. Randy Quaid, again, very young, and doesn't seem fair that he has to go to jail for what he's done. And so they really try to show him a good time, try to teach him some things before he goes to jail for 6 or 8 years. It's not really, it seems like he's going to get 8 years, but then there's some discussion in the movie that he might only get 6. But I just love this movie. It has all the things I love about a 70s movie as well as a Hal Ashby movie. Hal Ashby also is a director, to me anyway, who likes to leave the camera in places and just let the scene unfold. And there's an amazing scene in a hotel room that takes place. Very, very small room, lots of just phenomenal creative dialogue, which seems like it was improvised, to a great degree. And so I just love the atmosphere of this movie, as well as the statement that the movie's trying to make, which is, I think, key to what Hal Ashby did in his career as a film director and as an artist. And he also did another movie called Coming Home, which I may talk about on the channel, and of course Being There as well, which I haven't talked about yet on the channel. But Hal Ashby, to me, again, was really to me, reached his peak in the 70s, and I thought he did just an amazing job with this movie. So Last Detail, you can probably get this in other formats, but I love my special edition that I have from Indicator Films. And I've got a couple more here to talk about. One is, this one I really saw for the first time. I'd heard it was so good, and I, for some reason, hadn't had a chance to see it. And so I watched it for the first time this year, and it's phenomenal. It's so good. And this is Paul Newman in Slapshot. And of course, I love Paul Newman. I think he's great. This is a DVD, and a digital copy comes with it as well. And this movie is, I'm going to really have a hard time finding it, 1977, with Paul Newman, an amazing cast. And there's the back of that one with some extra features. I will read the back also. And this is, again, what you would see if you looked this movie up and you were interested in buying it. You could read this description, so hopefully I'm not spoiling that. Paul Newman stars as the coach of the Chiefs, a struggling minor league hockey team, in the hilarious comedy Slapshot about the world of professional sports. To build up attendance at their games, management signs up the Hanson brothers, 3 hard-charging players whose job it is to demolish the opposition. Slapshot's hard-hitting action, memorable lines, and unforgettable characters have made this classic one of the all-time best sports movies ever. I would agree it's a great sports movie, but I was also thinking, too, it has some very quiet moments as well. There's relationships that happen in the movie. Paul Newman, again, amazing portrayal of this character. And the hockey sequences, I'm not really a huge sports fan, and certainly not necessarily of hockey, but I was so impressed by what was happening on the ice and how they sort of went through the game and the things that were happening in those particular sequences. This is a really fun, well-acted movie, and one of my favorites now from the 70s. And again, I may have seen this movie years ago. I picked up the Blu-ray and just hadn't had a chance to watch it. And I thought, now's the time to do it when I'm doing the study on 70s movies. So this also has some bonus features, feature commentary with the Hanson brothers classic scenes, puck talk with the Hansons, and then a trailer. So this, I believe, you can still get on Blu-ray for a pretty affordable price. It's an amazing film, very funny, very dramatic, very interesting, sports-focused, and I really loved it. So Slapshot is great. This last one I'm going to talk about, I've seen so many times, and I'm such a big fan of. And I'm planning to talk about maybe some of the more well-known films, and I think this is one from the 70s that's a little bit more well-known perhaps than other films. But I watched it again. Once I put this film on, I'm sort of all in, and I'm ready to watch the whole thing. Sometimes when I put in a movie I've seen many times, I may not be in the mood for it, so I may take it off. But this one I was watching this week again, and I'm so stunned and love it. This is Al Pacino in Serpico. You can get this also on Blu-ray still. This is a Blu-ray. And inside, nothing much, no frills on the inside there, but it is a Blu-ray. And there's the back of that one. And I, again, love the nature of this movie. I'm going to read the description and then I'll talk about it a little bit. Again, this is on the back here. Serpico is based on the true story of a New York policeman who discovers that honesty is not expected to be part of his job. He endures scorn and mistreatment from his fellow cops while attempting to perform his job with integrity. The character of Serpico, combining the best elements of the establishment and counterculture, is a tour de force for Al Pacino. Totally agree with that. The film is a breathtaking suspense story and a fascinating character study, as well as a memorable statement about government's inherent flaws. This is a classic movie, too, about an individual versus the system. And Al Pacino plays an honest policeman and has to deal with a lot of the politics of being a policeman, being a detective, working to get promoted, get a gold shield in this particular case, in this movie. This is directed also by the amazing, one of my favorite directors of all time, too, Sidney Lumet, who had many great movies in the 70s also. And I love this movie. This also has some special features, Serpico from reel to reel, inside Serpico, Serpico favorite moments, and then a photo gallery with a commentary by Sidney Lumet. Anytime I have a chance to listen to Sidney Lumet talk, I will seek that out. And so I have also a documentary about him where he talks a lot about his films, and I absolutely love it. What else can I say about this movie? I've seen it so many times. I feel like I know the film very well inside and out. And Al Pacino really shows what he can do as an actor in this movie, and he's an amazing actor, one of my very favorite actors. But in this one is really sort of a huge showcase for him as this real person, Frank Serpico, who really went up and revealed some things about the New York Police Department that maybe were not known at the time. And so he really faces a lot of drama, a lot of risk, by doing this, these things. But I really love the story, and this is maybe true of the 70s also, of an individual against the system, working against a system that is perhaps flawed, and maybe trying to expose some of those things to make it better, to make the system a little bit better. And I think that, at least in this film anyway, he was able to do that with this character. And I think Sidney Lumet, in many of his films, showcase a character who is interested in changing the way things are, making things better. And that's one of the many things I love about movies from the 70s. So if you haven't seen this movie, highly recommend it. One of my top favorites. I think probably at the end of the series, I'll be doing maybe my top 5, maybe top 10 movies from the 70s, which is going to really be hard for me to do, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. And those are, 5 more films. I'm watching a lot of 70s films. Let me know in the comments below what you're watching this first month of 2023. Let me know also if you have a favorite 70s movie that I haven't talked about, that maybe I haven't mentioned. There's been so many great comments and suggestions, and I'm trying to get to as many of those as I can. But there's so many great movies from the 70s, so many amazing films to see, and I'm just really enjoying this particular study this year, which again, I'm sure will take many more months to do. And I'm going to sprinkle in these videos too, along with collection videos and haul videos and other things too. If you'd like to see, I know this may be asking a lot too, but if you'd like to see me do a different kind of video, certainly let me know in this video in the comments or on any other video too. I try to answer as many of the comments as I absolutely can, and so I want to thank you for all the interaction on this channel. It's one of my favorite things to answer questions and answer comments. So feel free to keep the dialogue going in the comment section below. Thanks for watching the video today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and this is your first video, please consider subscribing. That would be awesome. I sincerely hope that everyone is safe and well, and I'll talk to you soon.